Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Howard, and it's time to get stress-free. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Stress-Free Educator Podcast. Today's episode, we are going to talk about parents versus educators. It's another topic in the series, so let's jump right into it. Okay, so we are going to talk about what's kind of going on in the news, has been going on in the news recently in the last couple weeks or so. And we are going to talk about the Don't Say Gay law. Okay, and how this is affecting parents, how this is affecting our educators, and what's the battle between the two. Now, I must say this podcast is not going to talk about the LGBTQ community or anything like that. That is not what we're here for. As a matter of fact, personally, I love everybody. Okay, whether I agree or I don't agree, I love you because I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. Okay, that is my personal belief. So we're not here to argue on that side. We're not here to advocate or not advocate on any sides at all. We just want to talk about how is this going to stress our educators out? How is this going to stress our parents out? And what's the battle between the two? And we're going to provide some tips to kind of just make you get through the week. Okay, so that is the focus of our podcast. We're not here for any political agendas or anything like that. But we're going to talk about the Don't Say Gay law. Okay, and if you guys don't know, the governor of Florida, we decided to go with it, and there's now a battle between Disney and so on and so forth. Just for a long story short, y'all can look it up what's going on. But basically, not teaching sexual orientation topics and things like that in the elementary schools. Okay, so we're taking that curriculum out where we teach them about that stuff. And now parents have a right where if a teacher crosses the line, they can sue. And they have rights now to dictate whether you can talk to their child about sexual orientation or not. They're going as far as making sure those materials, if there's books that kind of talk about it and stuff like that, that the schools are taking that out. Okay, it kind of goes back to when they took out prayer out of schools. That was a big uproar. A lot of people advocated because if I don't believe in God or whatever, I should have a say so if my child goes to school and pray. My thing about that is just don't make it mandatory. Those that want to pray, go ahead and pray. And those that don't want to pray, don't go. I don't know. I think there was a better way of doing that, but to each his own. And, because I think there's always compromise that can be done. There's always a meeting of the minds, and there's always some type of arbitration that can take place before we go rogue and just banish things. I think we can come together and work out a plan, but it is what it is. So I'm going to do the setup. Y'all ready for the setup? The setup is this. As an educator, I don't control what curriculum these people tell me to teach. I'm really just doing this so I can get my little paycheck and feed my family just like you. I don't control the curriculum. So if I'm doing it, why are you mad at me? Why? I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing what the people, just like Amazon truck drivers are supposed to drive and deliver your package, and they do what Amazon tells you. You don't go to Amazon and tell them, well, your truck should have been pink. Why is it painted blue? The driver don't control that. I talked about this in my last episode. Parents, you have a right to advocate. That's your child. Your child's purpose is in your hands. The educator should not instill purpose into your child. I believe that. We should just do curriculum. What you cannot teach, I said this before, biology level 2, what you cannot teach, what you cannot handle curriculum-wise, I'm preparing them for college. I'm preparing them for, math proficiency, reading proficiency. That's what we're there for. How they live their life, who they believe in, who they pray to, morals, values, that's the parents. It's not the educators. That's when we got messed up. And I know this happened because you have parents out there that are unfortunately abusive to children, neglecting children. And so the educators started taking that parental role on, and schools started implementing stuff because it's like, what if there's a child with no parent? This is now the social work side. So they have, at least the child can go to school and get something. So I understand why it was implemented, because we're trying to protect those that don't have a good parental structure at home. And so we have those things in place at school. But what I'm trying to say is, you're fighting against the wrong people. The poor little 4th grade teacher, she don't have nothing to do with the curriculum. If the principal tell her she have to teach sexual orientation, she can just teach it whether she want to teach it or not. You understand what I'm trying to say? So for those of you parents, I'm going to encourage you, don't get up in these teachers. These are the wrong people. Go ahead and advocate. If you feel like you need to advocate, go ahead and go to the top. Your vote, go to the peaceful protest, do what you need to do to get the laws changed. You need to advocate up there. You're advocating on the wrong level. Now you're going to be, I can see some of y'all parents going up in these teachers' faces in these conferences and the principals and stuff. And you have no right to do that because they're the wrong people. You have a right to advocate, but to the right person, the people them who signed the bill, go to them, knock on them door, find out. I mean, y'all were able to get into the Capitol, so, but anyway, I'll leave that alone. So do something, positive, nonviolent. Don't go crazy. Don't burn the people. No. This ain't what this podcast is about. Peaceful stuff I'm talking about, making change, advocating positively. You're fighting against the wrong people. So I'm going to urge you, do not, this law was passed, but do not go up in the teachers. It is not their fault. They're just following the curriculum. Some teachers didn't agree with the FSA curriculum. They didn't agree with Common Core, but they just had to teach it. Stop. Parents, stop. It's not the teacher's fault. Y'all blaming them and the principals for everything that they cannot control. They literally just get an email telling them, this is what you're doing today. And I'm making stuff sound really simple just to kind of make light of things, but that's really what it is. So I urge you, parents, to leave these teachers alone. Advocate on the level that you need to advocate for with this law is concerned with the lawmakers. Stop. Okay, so that is the situation. That's the setup. Now these parents going to be harassing you if the book and like you're the one that bought the book. Come on now. What are we doing? But I do agree. Teachers, you should be rejoicing. Some of the teachers are actually saying, no, we need to teach them that. This is where I disagree. You are not the parent. I'm sorry. As an educator, you should not be the one teaching them sexual orientation. Now, to go as far as to be banning all of this stuff, I don't know. Like I said, this is not a political podcast. I really don't know. I'm just saying, I don't feel educators should be teaching this stuff. You should not. A parent should be teaching the child about sexual orientation and different things and choices and those life skills. That should be at home. We're backwards. Now we have strangers teaching kids this stuff. I don't agree. Your belief is your belief, yes, but it should come from you. It should not come from a stranger. Now, for the children that don't have the parental support, okay, fine. We understand that aspect of it. Now you have to use strangers to do what the parent is not doing. But I'm talking about a typical situation, guys. Parents, it's time for you to take your child's future back. Why are you giving your child's future to other people? You should be the one sitting them down at the dining table and going through all of this stuff. Some of you are so mad that at the Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion performance at the Grammys, I believe. You were so mad. What are you mad about? Turn the TV off and sit down and talk to your children about it. Cardi B is just making, like she said, shmoney. Do you agree with the way that she makes money? No, but she making it anyway. That was a time for you to say, you know what? What do you think about this performance? What do you think about this performance? Do you think this is what people consider beautiful? Do you think that you need to do this in order to attract a guy? No, this is when you sit and talk to your child. So your child know, okay, you know, Cardi B, she's cool and everything, but she is not my role model. That's another thing. And Cardi B said it best. I am not your child's role model. I'm making this music because people buying it. And I'm going to keep making it until they stop buying it. That was one of the most realest comment I've ever heard in my life. She doing it because people buying it. She's like, I'm not making it for children. People are buying the records, so I do it. Now you're mad at the people for airing it. Teach your child what they should be, you know, to teach your child how to make the decision. Should this be something I'm watching? Because instead, we're like, you're a role model. Who said Cardi B was a role model? Who? You're the role. And she said it too. She's like, I'm not your child's role model. The mother is the role model. The dad is the role model, not me. Some of her comments was just so powerful. She's like, I am not the role. See, we let these social media people be our idols. They're not, they're just humans making money. We make money as accountants, doctors, lawyers. They make money to act. They make money to perform. They make, whether we like the performance or not, this is how they make a living. If they don't tell these dirty jokes, if they don't strip, if they don't do this, they don't make no money. I'm not saying that they, you know, you would do that. We all know we could disagree, but I'm saying this is how they're making their living. Some people make a living doing illegal stuff, but they use the illegal money and pay the light bill. You understand what I'm trying to say? So at the end of the day, these people are not your idols. They're not your role models. So it ties into this, don't say gay law. That's a conversation between you and your child. If your child decides that they should not have been born a woman and this and that and the other, or girl or boy, and no pronouns, that's a family discussion. And if the family, you know, the family discussion and a professional, a therapist, these doctors that are licensed and trained, counselors and things like that, where the family now will go into an intervention program. A teacher who graduated with a bachelor's in, you know, elementary education is not the person that should be teaching them about this stuff. That's what I'm saying. You are not trained. I'm sorry, teachers, even if you feel like, yeah, you should tell them, you're not trained. That little video that you watch, come on now. What makes you licensed? You have people that go to school to do PhD, all the way up to a PhD in order to do mental health therapy and stuff like that. And you think with your little your little teaching certificate and the one video, you are now qualified? You can't do that. We got the education system doing stuff it shouldn't be doing. Education should just be book knowledge. Book knowledge. Giving them the tools to go to college, graduate, get a job. Book knowledge. It should not be life skills. That should be the parent. Do I believe in life skills education? Absolutely. But I don't believe that it should just come from a stranger alone. So if a school has a program, you know, teaching children how to save money and all of this stuff, they have a lot of programs, financial literacy. Yes, I agree with that. But only from the people that are actually professionals and that can teach it, not just dumping it on a gen ed teacher. That's what I don't agree with. Someone who's not trained, they're not specialized in that, should not be now forced to teach. I got to teach math, reading, science, sexual orientation. You just added on to their list and not raising the pay. But that's another episode. Now you added something to the educators list. That's why I'm saying we should not be. Teachers, you're stressed out enough. Now you want to go teach sexual orientation? You really want to teach this? You want to add this? You're probably going to have to do some lesson plans for it. You're probably going to have to do progress monitoring for it. There might be a test. You really want to add that stress to your life? Why don't we just stick to the subjects and allow the parents, allow the professionals, allow the therapists, allow the nonprofit organizations and all the free programs out there to do those kind of interventions. Now, what I will fight against is, I don't care who the child is, they better feel loved at school. So we as educators just need to make sure they're not bullied and they feel safe in our class. I think once you do that, there was children in my class that I could tell that they had different views in life, but I never made them feel unloved. And if I knew there was some type of bullying, I was involved. I was making sure I spoke to the principal, spoke to the parent. I'm getting involved to help get the bullying resolved. Okay. So I don't think that we have the time to now add another thing to our curriculum plate. But we don't have a right to not make the students feel loved. So the students should be able to come to school, and no matter who they are, they feel loved. They love coming to school. They love their teachers. They want to be there. Other students are able to look at them and say, okay, I don't agree with your views. My family is Christian. Your family is not. You're Jewish. I'm not Jewish. We have different views. However, let's go to lunch. We got class on the second period. They know how to function with different people. In life, we need to just know how to function with people, whether we need to agree with them or not. You got to love people. You got to love them. We cannot do these hate crimes and all of this stuff. It's like, okay, I don't agree with you, sis. I don't agree with you, bro. We're going to have to just exist on this earth. And, I'm going to shine my light, and hopefully my light can be a beacon in the world and help to save people. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to look at you and not love you and judge you. And I don't have a heaven or hell to put anybody in. So educators, I warn you, whether you agree with their decisions or not, you need to make sure that child has no idea how you feel. They feel loved, they feel safe, and make them feel safe and loved in your class. But I agree with the parents in terms of they should have a say-so with these sensitive subject matters should not come from the teacher. Maybe I want to teach my child about sexual orientation in third grade, and you're trying to do it in kindergarten. As a parent, I should, you know what? When it comes on to those topics, when it comes on to who I want my child to be, I think you're crossing the lines. But I do agree that these children now, sometimes when we go rogue, the children now are going to be more bullied, feel depressed, more mental health issues, more isolation. So we now just need to make sure we need to make sure we have programs in place at the schools to make these students, make everybody feel safe and loved. I think that's what we need to do. We just need to make sure they feel safe, make sure they feel loved, make sure they don't, want to commit suicide. I think now the mental health professionals need to kind of have those things in place in the schools to protect the students. So you kind of see how I balance both sides out. All right. Let me give you a personal story. Okay. Personal story about sexual orientation. Okay. So as during my first years, I went to school. I went to school in Jamaica. The only schooling I did in the United States was college. So, college is totally different. You're an adult. So a lot of the stuff was very foreign to me, very foreign. When I remember growing up, the whole sexual orientation thing, it was a nurse. It was an actual RN, I believe, that did. My memory is kind of foggy, but it definitely wasn't a teacher. That's what I'm trying to say. The teacher didn't do it. But I do remember going to the nurse, and the nurse had us in a group and separated the boys and the girls. I do remember something like that. But that was someone in the health profession, and the class was more on the health side of things. This is how you get pregnant. This is how you don't get pregnant. It was very like, it wasn't like, oh, well, you know what I mean? They didn't go over into the values aspect of it and the moral aspect. She was doing the science of it all. I do remember that, but I remember it coming from a licensed professional, not from the teacher. Right? And so it's a lot of stuff was just very foreign to me. So picture me, the guidance counselor at the school is coming to me. Like I said, it's foreign because I'm a new teacher, and it's foreign because I did my school in a different country. So can you imagine me? Fish out of water. Trust me, I felt different. I still feel different. My whole entire life, I just feel like a sore thumb. So can you imagine the guidance counselor coming to me? Hey, Miss Howard, I need you to do this training. So I'm like, okay, yeah. And then I watched the training, and it was about the sexual, and I'm like, okay, it's probably one of those things. Because as a teacher, we do all them videos, sexual harassment. I just thought it was another video, and then you have to sign the paper saying you watched the video. I honestly thought that's what it was. So I was like, okay, I'm done with the video, and I'm thinking, okay, where do I sign? And she was like, okay, well, you need to let me know when you're going to teach it. Teach what? Huh? Say what? Yeah, you're going to have to teach the class about. So I went to my colleague. I'm like, yo, what? I don't understand. I don't understand. She was like, yeah, I love her to best teacher. You ever had a teacher neighbor bestie? Oh, God, she was the best neighbor. Oh, geez. Anyway, and she was like, yes, and we have to teach it. And I was like, I am not teaching this. I'm not. I barely know how to teach a curriculum. I'm a first year teacher. Are you kidding me? I literally said, okay, I might lose my job today. I am not teaching. Nobody picked me about sexual orientation. You want to say, man? Met the nerd? No, because I felt like that wasn't my place. I really felt like that was not my place. It had nothing to do with comfort. It just being uncomfortable. It's just, I felt morally that was not my place. I'm overstepping some boundaries. I'm not a child mama. No. And I was like, okay, how am I going to get out of this? And I prayed. I said, okay, God, sometimes you got to do that. Okay, God, you got this? Okay, cool, bet. Sometimes we think prayer is deep. It's not really deep. It's just, hey, God, let me holler at you. You got this right here? You see this? You hear what it? And I'm like, okay, God, I don't know. As a first year teacher, I'm just trying to make it. I don't know. I don't know about this. And by the grace of God, some way, my class got taught by somebody else. I don't remember the situation. It was something where there was a loophole. There's always a loophole in the law. Thank God for the legal system. There was some type of loophole where your class could be grouped with another class. So my class and another class was together, and someone else did it. I honestly don't remember the exact situation, but I remember I didn't have to do it. And that's my personal experience. I felt like it was not my place. Now, I agreed with it to a certain extent, because I was in a what they consider a struggling school in a struggling neighborhood. So I knew these students were not getting necessarily what they needed to get at home. So a part of me was like, it's good, because I know all these teenage pregnancies and stuff like that. I know they're not getting the knowledge that they need or the assistance that they need. So I agreed with it to that extent. Where I disagreed was who was doing the teaching. See, I liked what growing up, where it was a nurse, it was those professionals coming in that are trained to do that. I do not agree with a typical gen ed teacher that has no experience with this thing to now just read the script. Stop it. Stop it. Okay? Stop the madness. So what's my stress-free tip for this? Listen, guys, it doesn't matter sexual orientation, no sexual orientation, pronouns used, no pronouns. It really doesn't matter. Do your students feel loved? Do they want to come to your class? Do they want to come to your class and learn? From the student that wears all black, they have a name for them, but I don't put names. They wear all black and the eyeliner and stuff like that. Can the Gothic student come into your class and feel loved? Okay, come on in here. Come on. I like black. It's okay. You know what I mean? Can they feel loved? That's your stress-free tip. Once again, this is kind of technically one of those things you can't control. And you can't be mad that a parent wants to teach their children about these sensitive matters. I think a parent has a right to say, if my child wants to do this, I should be the one to be there for my child, not a stranger. Teachers, you feel like you're the parent. You're not the parent. You really are a stranger. You're not a part of that child's family. You don't believe what they believe in. You didn't care that child for 9 months. So a parent does have a right to teach their child about these sensitive subjects and these sensitive areas. So stress-free tip, love them. Love every single one of them. Notice I didn't say like them, because I know some of them get on your nerves. See, I'm real. I done been through this before. I didn't like all my kids, but I loved all of them. There's a difference. That's my stress-free tip for the day. Listen, follow us at LFK Service. Subscribe to the channel, right? And tell me what you wanted me to talk about. Dr. Howard, we need to talk about this. Give me a stress-free tip. All right? And always remember, for this week, you deserve to be stress-free. Take care.